Hi, my name is Mrs. Dobrinsky. I am the Library Media Specialist at the Seville Middle School. Today, I will be sharing with you the summer reading list for incoming 8th grade students. The goal of the SMS summer reading program is to provide independent practice of reading comprehension skills and to foster a lifelong love of reading for our students. Here is a picture of our media center. And I love to share books that I've read that I think you would enjoy. And I also love to listen to books that you have read that you would like me to share with other middle school students. The focus for the 8th grade titles are characters that grow. As you read, you're encouraged to complete the bookmark on the back of the summer reading pamphlet. Here's what the pamphlet looks like. You'll get information from your LEL teacher on where you can get this pamphlet. Will also be available at the ServilleK12.net website. So once you complete the bookmark and submit it to me in the Media Center by September 17, 2020, you will be entered into a raffle to win prizes. Here are the 6 book selections that I'm going to talk about today. Students are asked to read one of the 6 recommended titles for the grade level they will enter in September. There's no log nor project to be completed. Just simply read using the skills that you learned in LAL this year. Students can find many of these titles online. You can also find them through local bookstores where you'd be able to get curbside pickup. And the Seville Public Library has an app called Hoopla where you can download these titles to your devices. That is a good choice to use during this time period. All right, let's get started. There are 6 books, and you are going to choose one of the titles that I'm going to talk about. Whatever Happened to Janie, Rumblefish, Gone, The Boy at the Top of the Mountain, We Beat the Streets, In Their Shoes. There are 4 fiction selections. Fiction, again, is fake, made up, not true, and 2 nonfiction or true, real life, real people, 2 nonfiction selections. I'm going to start off with the fiction books. Whatever Happened to Janie. Whatever Happened to Janie is the 2nd book in a series called the Janie books. So if you read The Face on the Milk Carton this year, this is the 2nd book. This picks up where that book left off. If you didn't read The Face on the Milk Carton, you can read it if you would like to choose this as your 2nd book. But basically what happened in this 1st book, The Face on the Milk Carton, a young girl named Janie is looking at a milk carton, and there's a picture of a little girl on there, a 3-year-old. And she realizes that that is her picture. So what happened in the 70s and 80s when children would go missing or possibly kidnapped, abducted, they would put their picture on the back of the milk carton, on back of a milk carton. And it would have different information. It would say the child's name, hair color, where they went missing from, what they were where they were last seen, what they were wearing. So she notices this picture and discovers that, yes, that is in fact her on the back of this milk carton. So 12 years have passed since she was taken, and she has grown up as Janie Johnson, 2 states away from where she was kidnapped in New Jersey. This book, Whatever Happened to Janie, picks up after Janie has told her boyfriend that she was, in fact, the young girl who was kidnapped, the face on the milk carton. And following a long process with the court has granted permission for her birth family, the Spring family. So the Spring family, her parents, gained custody of Janie, and her real name is Jenny Springs. So this picks up where she has to go back and live with her real family. So there's lots of trouble. She doesn't really want to go live with them. She's been raised by what she thought were her grandparents, and her grandparents didn't even realize she was kidnapped. She was actually kidnapped by her grandparents' daughter, or who she thought were her grandparents' daughter, this troubled girl named Hannah. So Hannah just picked up her, kidnapped her, and dropped her off at her parents' house and said, you need to help raise this child for me. So the couple that she has been living with has not even realized that she was kidnapped. So this picks up where that story left off. I can tell you that if students do read this book, they do want to read the rest of the books in the series, and we do have those in the library. The next book is Rumblefish. Rumblefish, you may recognize the author's name. It is S.E. Hinton, and she wrote The Outsiders, which many students read this year in 7th grade. This is not a continuation to The Outsiders, but it is similar to, if you enjoyed The Outsiders, you will probably enjoy this book, Rumblefish. Rumblefish only has 135 pages, which is a strong draw for some students. They don't really want to read a big book over the summer. This might be a choice for you. So Rusty James is the main character in this book. And in the beginning, he runs into his old friend. He meets up with his old friend at the beach, his friend Steve. And 5 years have passed since they last saw each other. Now, Steve and Rusty's lives took very different turns. Steve ended up in college and is enrolled in college, and Rusty just got out of a reformatory. So when Steve looks at Rusty, they kind of start to reminisce and think about when they were 14 years old, growing up in this town, and they start to talk about Rusty's brother, Motorcycle Boy. Motorcycle Boy had a strong personality, and he was a leader of this gang in the town when they were growing up. So Rusty and Steve would hang around this pool hall called Benny's, and they would get into lots of different troubles. So they start to tell the story about Rusty and his brother, Motorcycle Boy. Rusty's being raised by his father, who is an alcoholic. His mother abandoned him when he was a little boy. So he talks a little bit about that. So if you enjoyed The Outsiders, you like to read The Outsiders, you will enjoy Rumblefish by S.E. Hinton. The third fiction selection is Gone. Different page numbers than Rumblefish. We have about 535 pages in Gone. But I have to tell you that the story will grab you right from the beginning. All right. It is a science fiction book. It is the first book in the Gone series. And many times when students read this over the summer, they do come into the media center in September and would like to read the rest of the books in this series. If you had Mrs. Wrights in this year, this is one of her favorite series. If you had Mr. Bohm for math in 6th grade, he also likes this series, the Gone series. But the first book is Gone by Michael Grant. So one day everything is normal, and then poof, everyone over the age of 14 is gone without any explanation. They disappear. Chaos starts to erupt because there are no adults, there's no order, there's no power, there's no internet, there's no electricity. You can't contact anyone out of this coastal town where this is happening. The teens try to have some sort of order, or some of the teens try to bring some sort of order to the town to help the little kids and form a society, but that doesn't really go too well. It's difficult rationing the food. There's no laws that are being followed. Bullies kind of rise up. And not to mention, there are many strange things happening. Remember, it's a science fiction book. So there are mutating animals. Some kids have these superpowers, and some kids really have some evil, sinister things that are going on. The kids try to stay alive. They fight against each other. There's definitely a battle between good and evil. Also, they're looming or wondering what will happen when you turn, when you're about to turn 15. Will you disappear also? They don't know where anybody went, where they disappeared to, what happened. Does it have to do with aliens? What is going on here? So it's definitely a science fiction book that, even though it is 500 pages, it grabs you right from the beginning, and a great series. A lot of students have enjoyed the Gone series. All right. The Boy at the Top of the Mountain is our fiction selection that is a historical fiction selection. So it is by the same author that wrote The Boy in the Striped Pajamas. So if you like The Boy in the Striped Pajamas, if you read that, in school, or if you read that on your own, you may also enjoy this. It's by the same author. So it's fiction, but historical fiction. It takes place during the same time period. It's about a young boy named Perrault, and he is growing up as an orphan. His father was killed. His father was a drunken German soldier who was killed by a train, and his mother dies, so he's orphaned and sent to go live with his aunt, who is a housekeeper in Austria. So we find out as the book goes on that she is a housekeeper for Adolf Hitler. And Perrault, who also has a best friend who is Jewish, starts to question some things that he's reading. All of his reading and his learning and his training come from Hitler. He's drawn into this Nazi regime and starts to really question what is going on during this time period. And he believes that this is the way that he should be going. And then as he starts to learn a little bit more, and they don't really want him to be friends with his Jewish friend anymore, and he starts to find out what Hitler is doing, the horrors of what is happening, he starts to question and really is struggled internally. The Boy at the Top of the Mountain would be a solid pick for summer reading. All right, our nonfiction selections. We Beat the Street is a story about 3 boys growing up in Newark, New Jersey, and they decide to make this pact to become doctors. Now, they're dealing with a lot of things going on in their neighborhood: drug dealing, gangs, prison. There are not many opportunities for them to go to college, not even just to go to college, but to graduate high school, go to college. But they decide, we're going to graduate high school, we're going to go to college, get our bachelor's degree. They decide to go to Seton Hall. And then they make this pact that not only are we going to graduate college, but we're going to go to and get into medical school and graduate to become doctors. So it's a nonfiction book. It takes place right here in New Jersey, so that's interesting. Some of the places that they talk about in the book you may recognize. We Beat the Street: How a Friendship Pact Led to Success. And the last one is a nonfiction selection. In Their Shoes by Debbie Reber is a book about women and their different jobs. You can follow amazing women and how they describe their jobs, their salary, the schooling that you need for a certain career, what will you do, what would be the day-to-day itinerary for that job. So again, another nonfiction selection called In Their Shoes. All right, those are our 6 selections. You are going to pick one of them. You can always take your book outside, read outside during these wonderful summer months ahead. Stay healthy, stay safe, keep on reading. If you have any questions, please email me, loriann.dobrinsky@sayrevillek12.net. If you have any questions about the assignment, you can reach out to your LAL teachers. But if you have any book questions, please reach out to me. Have a great summer. I miss seeing you in the library, and I hope to see you soon. Take care. Bye.